Miguel Calvo. Today, I've left London, Leamington Spa in the Midlands. It's where I grew up, it's my hometown. It's where I used to work, the Fat Pug. We'll be exploring third spaces today and the importance of pubs in the British community and British culture. Back in 1989, Raymond Gurg wrote The Great Good Place about third spaces. This could be a religious building, this could be restaurants, this could be any sort of place where the community hang out. And in British culture, the pub is the original third space. I'm meeting up with Chris today. And we'll be talking. See you, my love. And we'll be talking all about the pub. Cheers. Now let's talk about films. British gangster films, particularly Guy Ritchie. Epitomises that business is done in the boozer. Take The Gentleman, Snatch. Matthew Vaughan's The Kingsman or Legend, starring Tom Hardy. But we know the film captures British film culture through the pub, the Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy. I mean, The World's End is literally about a pub crawl. The pub is a scene of love affairs, reunions, happiness, laughter, sadness, and sometimes zombies. The pub in British culture is a third space, and alcohol is the vehicle for conversation. Oh, cheers to that. Backtracking 2,000 years ago, we see the first introduction of the tavernet, or tavern, brought over by the Romans. Soon the Brits got brewing and created ale, which is what I'm drinking right here. Taverns turned to alehouses, and alehouses turned to public houses, which then turned to what we know today as the pub, dating back to King Henry VII. During the World Wars, pubs were used as war-saving groups to raise funds for the efforts, community morale, and a community hub. Many of the buildings were destroyed in the Blitz across the country, particularly London, Liverpool, and just down the road, Coventry. You know, another benefit of the local is social cohesion and community building. For example, here is a base for the Knit and Natter group, a collective of old ladies who meet on a Thursday morning, sharing stories, catching up and chatting away. Not only a support network, but a front line for combating loneliness. Now, AGK reports over 1.4 million older people in the UK often feel lonely, with 225,000 often going a week without speaking to anyone at all. Now, if you just deep that for a second and reflect on the importance of outreach and having that community around you, and that refers back to that film in 2023 called The Oak. Now, The Oak is a beautiful, moving story about a Syrian refugee and a pub landlord who befriended a poverty-stricken mining community in the northeast of England. And the story explores breaking down differences between communities, unification, and resilience in the face of social and economic challenges.
How you doing?
Right, so long time no see.
Indeed.
Oh, right, very good, thank you, sir. So, for context, me and Chris have known each other from the Fatty for a long time. Yeah. Both behind the bar, in front of the bar. So, little interview time.
She's picked the wrong house to get in.
Chris, long time no see. How's it going?
Very well.
Let's get into it. Many a pint consumed in this place over the years. What makes pubs unique from other social venues in terms of atmosphere and representation of British culture?
Good question, really. I think I want to use the, I don't know why, but the phrase safe space comes to mind.
Yeah.
I think it's somewhere where you can go which isn't work, which isn't home, which is away from the missus, which is away from, you know,
External
stresses, exactly. So it's a safe space to come to where you can just relax and have a beer.
And whether you talk to friends on your own, with like anything, you can just...
I'll pop in. I mean, I'm not one massively for drinking on my own, but I'm happy to come here. And like when you worked here, and the good members of staff they've got here, it's just nice to pop in. Like I did last night, I popped in on the way back I went to the supermarket.
Yeah.
And I just like to pop in, and it's just something social.
And it's a social place where you can feel comfortable in your environment. Yeah. You don't have to put on your happy face.
I don't feel. I mean, coming here and like I say, meeting staff members like yourself. I don't feel as if I need to
impress almost. You can just
Not impressive. I was going to say, I don't feel like I need to make arrangements to meet with a friend deliberately.
Pop in for
I can pop in and just, and happy to, you know, just spend some time with you and your colleagues really. So,
and that leads on to stereotypically, you know, British culture and pubs is very kind of a white zone.
Yeah.
But would you say pubs stereotypically welcoming to all types of people, regardless of age, gender, background?
I think so, yeah. Over the last, I would say definitely over the last 10, 15 years.
Not the builders 4 o'clock smoking inside as much now. It's a place where you can go in, and especially if you living in the cities and stuff, you've got all sorts of backgrounds coming into one place. It's not an impressive environment from what my friends have told me previously. Back in the 80s, we go to like Sunderland, Middlesbrough.
I mean, if you go back far enough, I mean, my parents' generation, my mum would never have. Certainly, my grandma, probably my mum actually as well, and she's in her mid 70s. She wouldn't have wanted to go into a pub on her own.
Yeah,
because it would have been culturally sort of frowned upon.
And now it's more of a like you say, turn back to a safe space.
Like a safe space, really, yeah.
And in terms of the cash side of things, because obviously all things lead to the money, we'd say recent economic changes, such as rising costs, electricity, do you reckon it's changed in shifts of alcohol consumption? With stuff like Dry January, do you reckon it's impacted the role of going to the pub?
Certainly for the younger generation. I mean, I was friendly with a publican who had a really big successful pub in Leamington 10, 15 years ago at its height. And even he was noticing then that a lot of younger drinkers weren't coming in.
Yeah.
So your late teenagers, your 20-year-olds weren't coming in. They were spending their money more on experiences.
Yeah.
And they were more aligned to spending their money on gym memberships and stuff like that, and healthier living. You know, although you know I've been a member of gyms before, and I've sort of looked after myself more so in the past.
But the pub always prevails.
But I'm of that generation where, that sort of older generation, whereby actually I still like the pub.
Yeah. And essentially, I mean, for context, it is about 12 o'clock on a Thursday on the 9th of January, so it's been
hence the coffee.
Hence the coffee, and then I have got an ale, but that's for prop purposes only, of course.
Yeah.
But with Dry January and those sort of kind of almost trends, would you say, like the sober Octobers?
And that's a good thing, like Stoptober and Dry January, and there's like, you know, you could even relate it, I suppose, to these sort of thematic kind of things. We have like Movember, which you're very young. You know, there's and that's all good. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's good to keep an eye on what you're drinking. All I would say is that it's not going to stop me going to.
You can still enjoy it.
You know, I'm not so health conscious, and I'm fortunate. I mean, I'm not a terribly wealthy person at all, but you know, I'll prioritise
being able to go to a pub.
Being able to go to a pub, you know, because it's something I value, and it's really important to me.
And that wraps it quite nicely to the last question in terms of, can you share any personal experiences and close relationships that demonstrate how pubs can represent that third space?
You're a really good example.
That's
yourself.
good.
I mean, we've stayed in touch. If I look back at all the members of staff, you know, I had my 50th a couple of weeks ago, and two of the young members of staff came over and they read a little poem. Actually, which was really heartwarming, and they essentially said, you know, I was a lovely guy and I brought in my friend's dog, and you know, and I was a valued local, and that was really touching. So, and it's things like that expand your, not just your work relationships, your known friendship groups, but expand into, well, I don't really know these people. And you're
23.
You're 23, so you're more than half my age.
But because
you've got that bonding experience
100%
at the pub, and you just can't put a price on that.
Yeah, but it's about 420.
Yeah, well, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guinness has gone up to £6.20
inside of the tyres.
which is expensive, but it doesn't stop me from spending. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah, it's never going to stop, isn't it?
No.
But we'll leave it at that, Chris.
Cheers,
Beautiful.
Will.
Thank you very much for that. Now, like everything in life, good things must come to an end. And that's why we spin our heads to the future of the pub. Undeniably, there is a decline in drinking culture, especially amongst young people. Putting down the pints and picking up the trainers. Swapping Saturday hangovers for hot yoga, with a rise in social media and the health-conscious younger generation has moved away from the pub, now turned to running clubs, and such their third space. With trends such as dry January and sober October, and increasing taxes and overheads for landlords, it's more important now than ever to look after your local and keep this third space alive. Cheers to that.